good afternoon. Stephen said, my name is Carrie Bienkowski. I am head of buyer experience at eBay Fashion. I was actually really looking forward to John's presentation because I've got 3 kids, and indeed, a baby changes everything. I don't think I've slept in about 11 years, which is why I need notes, because I have no short-term memory anymore. We'll start with a video. I have a confession to make. I was walking my daughter to school a couple weeks ago. She's 6 years old, and talking about things that we were looking forward to, and I had mentioned that I was having to be giving a speech in a couple weeks, and if anybody has small children, their brains, I mean, the stuff that they come up with is just unbelievable. So I'm constantly tapping into her for ideas, and I said, do you have any tips? Give me some thoughts. And she said, Mommy, just don't be boring. Use pictures. Otherwise, people will think you're really boring. So she'll be very proud of me. I've done one step better than using pictures. I brought a video, so moving pictures, even better. So I think she'll be very pleased by that. So we'll start with that. Hopefully the AV will get going. Tired. I look at that. It's exciting, though. Really, really exciting. And I'll come back to some of the things that were highlighted in this video in a moment. But just for a bit, come back to earth. The reality is, working in retail, working in packaged goods, working in industry, it's been a really, really tough year. In fact, it's been a really tough couple of years. Just looking at some of the most recent data trends, retail sales were half of what they were prior to the banking crisis. It's incredible. I think the CBI just had their recent index numbers, and it has staggered, or it has kind of stuck at -29 for the 3rd consecutive month. It's really tough. And when you consider that retail is 5% of GDP and almost 10% of the jobs in the UK, that's a really, really tough outlook. And you know, we're all waking up to it every day. It's recession, it's depression, it's double dip, it's triple dip. You know, it's hard just to get out of bed in the morning sometimes, but despite living in the UK for over 10 years now, I have not lost that relentlessly annoying, optimistic American in me. I'm probably the only person old enough to remember who this is, Pollyanna. Let me start with a statement. The internet has provided a beautiful solution to shopping, okay? Beautiful solution to shopping. So if there's a solution, there must be a problem. Something must be broken. And I think a lot of people would say that when you look at the only bright spot in retail over the last year has been the growth of online commerce. So m-commerce, multi-channel, whatever you want to call it, it's been the only bright spot in retail. So I would argue this, retail is not broken, but traditional stores are broken. And they need reinventing. Physical stores will always be a really, really important part of the multi-channel experience, despite what I'm going to say on the panel. But I really do think that they're here to stay, but only the really clever ones that fully harness the power of digital, mobile, will be the ones that survive. There's a big department store, very, very well respected among retailers in general in the US, Nordstrom. Some of you may know it. They are very similar to John Lewis in the sense that they are just ruthlessly focused on the customer. And there's a really interesting quote from the CEO, and I want to make sure I get this right. And he said, companies were in control up until the year 2000, but now the customer is in the driver's seat. If you embrace that, you will thrive. If not, then by 2020, you will not survive. And again, really interesting. So this is a company that has made their reputation on being customer focused. And he's saying, we've got to be even more customer focused. Now, he didn't say anything about mobile. He didn't say anything about e-commerce. He said customer, but for me, there's a link. There's an absolute link. And the link is that e-commerce, m-commerce, multi-channel, omni-channel, it's a customer-driven trend. And when I say customer, I mean women. Women, yay, women! Okay? So we all remember the early days, my clicker's not working, of online shopping. It was a very, very male-dominated categories. It was music, it was computer hardware, it was consumer electronics. And then came the rise of food, toys, home goods, fashion, we love fashion. And oh, by the way, women were buying a lot of consumer electronics too, and they still continue. So with the rise of other product categories, women started to dip their toes in the water, and with the rise of smartphones and tablets and the explosion of social media, women have just dived in and they have not come up for air since. So it's all very, very exciting. And for those of you who work in packaged goods, I found this fascinating. I spent the first 10 years of my career at Procter & Gamble. And it was, sort of chapter and verse. Everyone knew that, for a brand to succeed, you had to focus on head of household, HOH. And it was sort of this, nobody even questioned the fact that HOH was always a female. And so it's fascinating, 20 years on, that this idea of focusing the product experience or the product proposition on a female shopper, it shouldn't be a breakthrough thought, but it is, even at eBay. And that's what I want to talk about a little bit. I met up with an ex-colleague of mine who used to work at eBay, and he recently went to Facebook, pre-IPO, only 2 weeks pre-IPO, much to his dismay. But he shared just a fascinating statistic with me. 46 million more women than men are added each month to Facebook. 46 million. That's a huge number. At Facebook, women are the majority of users. I think that they are now, I think the latest number was 58% of the users, but they drive 2/3 of the activity. The one comment that I heard the other day, and I wish I had said this because it was a really clever comment, and it was basically saying that if women had not adopted Facebook very, very early on, Facebook would not be the company that they are today. Basically being, why do you think all the guys showed up? It was the best bar in the world because it was all full of women, and it still continues to be that way. Yelp is another interesting case in point for those of you guys who know Yelp. The traffic is half male. But the purchases and the content is almost exclusively female. Why is that? Again, it goes back to the fact that women are making the purchase decisions, and so while Men are involved, of course they're involved, but it's really the women. They're increasingly driving those purchase decisions, not just offline, but online as well. And here's a really crazy insight. I love this one. The purchasing habits of young males now look like females. So when you look at 18 to 24-year-old males, they're just defying all previously known shopping patterns. So they're browsing, they're shopping with friends, they're being much more prone to impulse purchase, which is absolutely fascinating. Which again says that if you design your product experience and if you design your proposition around the female, you're never going to go wrong, because actually, ultimately, the rest of the marketplace catches up with that. So women dominate 9 out of 10 online categories, actually, which even surprised me a little bit. They only see, no surprise, computer hardware and auctions, and probably the latter only because my own employer has only recently figured out the importance of the female shopper online. Let's see, it's the short-term memory loss again. All right. So I go back to my original statement with one little notation. The internet has provided women a beautiful solution to shopping. So time is the ultimate scarce resource for women today, and mobile commerce, I maintain, is the female killer app. And I'll take myself as a case in point. This is probably a little bit embarrassing. So I'm a busy working mom. I've got 3 small children, 3 daughters. They don't look exactly like that. Their eyes aren't quite that big. So you know, it's the old working mom story. I'm 100 miles an hour from sun up to sundown. I am desire rich and time poor. I almost exclusively do my shopping nowadays on either my iPad or my phone. And it's, you know, truth be known, it's usually with a glass of wine, which is, you know, probably good for the retailers. It's at the end of the day, it's in between multitasking, printing out yet another permission slip, looking at the school schedule, you know, emailing, FaceTiming my husband, who's God knows where in the world. It's that multitasking, but it's part of my life. If I have to get up and go to the kitchen and sit down at my PC, forget it, forget it. And in fact, my favorite story recently is my smartphone even has a solution for the bane of every working mother's existence, which is the school bake sale, okay? It's like constant, it basically tells you that you're not worthy because you didn't have the time to make the cupcakes. So where's Waitrose? Waitrose is in here. Oh, Waitrose, yes.
Thank you, mothers.
Oh, God. No, so the bake scale, right? The bake scale, which I realized was 2 days and there was no way because I had meetings, I had so there I am, Ocado.com, on the bus, on the way home. You know, it's a beautiful thing. They're nut-free. Yay! So thank you very much for that. I appreciate it. And I tweeted about it, so even better. The other one, I have to share this. My friend will kill me, but I'm going to do it anyway. Very good friend of mine, very, very impressive woman. She's probably the smartest friend that I have. She is a deputy director at the British Medical Research Council. Spent yesterday at the House of Lords talking about various different health and medical issues. I get a text from her this morning that I just love, and this just really sums it up. So here we go. Don't tell her I did this. She will kill me. Here's my morning. Up at 6 a.m., need to get 7:36 to Swindon. 7:05 at station with Thomas. Thomas is her son. Time for coffee and child bonding. Child has forgotten sports bag. Bus back to house, back to station, missed train, child sobbing as missed 7:32. Take sobbing child to Barnes. Get bus, happy child. Back to Richmond, 8:11, late for Swindon meeting. Am sitting on the Reading platform, just bought a dress off Matches.com. Everything's okay now. So, you know, welcome to our world. I mean, this is the future of shopping. Let's talk a little bit about mobile. You can tell I get very excited about mobile. I get very excited about women. There's definitely a connection. Some pretty staggering numbers. You saw this in the video. eBay started our mobile investment back in, I think, 2006. I think we were one of the very first apps on the original iPhone. In the last 5 years, the total value of our sales on mobile devices is, you'll see the number there, we're projecting 10 billion. So it started out about 100 million the first full year, 2007, 100 million to 10 billion over 5 years. Worked in packaged goods for 10, I've never seen anything like that. It just boggles the imagination. And you know, we put these slides and we think, that's gotta be a typo. That can't possibly be the rate of growth. We passed a couple really interesting milestones recently as well. 100 million downloads of the eBay app. That was a big milestone that we hit this month, as a matter of fact. That doesn't count all the people who are going on and using the web browser on tablets. That's actually the download of the app. And we actually also passed the 100 million for listings. We now have had 100 million items listed. So it's not just buying. For our ecosystem, the selling is just as important. So it's bringing that whole piece together. In the early days of mobile, someone who thought they were being very clever would inevitably ask the question, wow, this mobile growth, it's all well and good, but how much of it is cannibalizing my core business? It's the dumbest question I have ever heard, and because it fundamentally misses the big, fat, juicy point, which is, it's about the customer, and it's about how she wants to shop, and more importantly, it's about how she needs to shop. If you don't provide that mobile solution, you will lose her. And I think that's what I think a lot of retailers are starting to retail, because they were, ooh, but it might cannibalize, and oh God, but if they're going there, and it doesn't matter. It's the wrong question to ask. It's about being in the places that your customers are. And for us, it was increasingly on the go. We're actually, and you guys may have seen it, we've made a very significant media investment. The offline advertising started on Monday. You'll probably see there's some print, there's also some radio running. There was a massive debate in-house, and there was actually a very conscious choice made. And if you see that piece of advertising, you can't probably not see it over the next week or two. It's a female customer shopping on her mobile device. I mean, it's that important to us, and we think that that is going to be the future of shopping. In fact, we're anticipating, and we all kind of have an office pool bet going, we're anticipating that one third of purchases this Christmas season will be made on a smartphone. Now that doesn't include the starting on a mobile phone, that doesn't include doing research, that's actually checking out on a mobile device. So if you think about the amount of purchases that are going to be what we call touch by mobile, almost sounds like a survival group, touch by mobile, it's even higher than that. So again, just absolutely staggering numbers. So at eBay, yeah, we were very smart. We were very smart, but we got lucky. We got really lucky. We had first mover advantage, and we are now reaping the benefit of that. We estimate a 50% share of the e-commerce market, which is fantastic. That's absolutely fantastic. Arguably, our mobile experience is better than our core experience, and I think that's one of the things that we have learned a lot about over the last 2 years, which is when you design for mobile, you have to triage everything. You have to really strip it down to the bare basics, and when you do that, you make the product experience that much better, and I think that's the really exciting thing for us, is that we're now, rather than trying to shove our PC-based experience onto mobile, over the last couple of years, where the real innovation came from is realizing that the mobile experiences that we were creating out of need and out of triage were actually fantastic PC-based experiences as well. So we're learning a lot there. We're completely paranoid about our success. We know that a year from now, somebody else could come behind us and eat our lunch. So we're absolutely paranoid about our success. But we've tried to channel that paranoia, not into smoking and drinking, but into really trying to dig under the skin of our own customer. And we actually call her Vicky. You know, we have Vicky. She's a persona. We haven't always been good to Vicky, truth be known. We've neglected her, we've abused her, we've forgotten her birthday. But we've also been very smart, and we've partnered with the very clever people at Compete to really understand at a very, very granular level. Caroline talked about the path to purchase. We've really tried to understand on that customer journey, where are we letting Vicky down? As it turns out, we're letting her down in a lot of different places. But because we now have that insight, I would say our most significant product resources and our product investments next year that are in the pipeline are all about fixing where we have let Vicky down in the past. I mean, this year alone, I was just actually looking back on this. This year alone, I estimate that I have personally sat through about 50 hours of research. So either reading research reports or sitting or watching people, literally watching women shop. And I'm sorry. On behalf of all women, I know how you guys now feel, and I apologize. It's not always the most entertaining thing. But we now know what we need to do to make the experience better. And we've done some great playing. So for example, one of the things that we learned about particularly folks who are shopping for fashion, women's brains are different. And Roy, I won't be quite as politically incorrect, although I could be. Come see me afterwards. Women's brains are different, particularly when they shop online. They're very, very visual. It used to be that our eBay, our entire product and our entire experience was really based on how guys shop. They search. Go in, iPod 5 in the search box. That's not how women shop. They want to browse, they want to look, they want to see, they want to be distracted, they want to be inspired. So we created, we have our eBay fashion app, which is actually what we use, not because we think that we're going to get a huge amount of sales out of it. Most of the sales come through the eBay core app or through the web-enabled browser. But we use our eBay fashion app to experiment. This is where we get to play. So we use it as a bit of a playground. And one of the things that came out of it was this very cool, if you guys download it, it's now available in the UK. It's an image recognition. So it's all about visuals. It's all about women. I mean, I'm staggered. I think one of the biggest trends that's going to hit fashion over the next couple of years is Google Images. I don't think people have fully understood the impact of Google Images on the fashion shopping experience. We have, and we're working on it, and we have some really, really clever image recognition people beavering away in San Jose. But we launched this. People absolutely love this. And what you do, you take your smartphone, because again, this is the cool thing about a smartphone, right? It's got a camera. And shopping is all about visual, about seeing something. It's about instantaneous. I love that. And if Caroline was here, she had a dress on today. I recognized the dress. I couldn't remember where I'd seen it before. Snapped a picture of the, oh, not that Caroline, different Caroline. Snapped a picture of the fabric. I now know it's his whistle dress. So, I mean, this is the type of thing that women want to do, and this is the way that they are shopping, and they will buy it instantaneously. It's like candy, snacking. The other thing that is well worth talking about is how online and offline are blurring. So this whole idea of we have got to take the E out of e-commerce, and I think we're probably about a year or two to the point where we're going to stop talking about these two things as very different things. Our own CEO, John Donahoe, he likes to put it this way: we will see more change in the way people shop and pay in the next 3 years than we've seen in the past 20. That's pretty powerful, and I think that there was some hint of that in the video around the type of adoption rates that people are saying, phone to smartphone to tablet. It's incredible. I mean, it's just getting shorter and shorter. Now, this evolution does not mean the death of the high street. That makes for great copy, but that's just not the reality. But with the convergence of offline and online, and what we're predicting is what we call yesterday, 2008, online was that tiny little sliver. We might want to think about doing something online. So, might be important. Today, we call it online and web influence. So again, this is what we talk about as it's not just purely the people who are checking out and making that final purchase online on their phone. It's about how that mobile device is playing into that total customer journey. And we think it's almost half. We think it's almost half, and we actually have some really good data behind this. Tomorrow, it's just commerce. There is no going to be this online and offline. It's all blurring and it's all blending. And it's huge. I mean, that's when you get into these just numbers that blow your mind. There is still a role for bricks and mortar. Again, despite what I'm going to say in the panel discussion. Apple stores. We all love Apple stores. They are some of the most productive stores in retail when you look at their sales per square foot. And why is that? Because they're fun. It's entertainment. My kids would much rather go to the Apple store at Westfield than go to the cinema. And quite frankly, so would I, except for the fact that I spend a lot more, which isn't great. Mobile phones. This one I have mixed feelings about. Everyone predicted that mobile phones would eventually go online in terms of their sales. They haven't. And it's because it's an incredibly complex sale. You need people. Now, I think that says that it's right for opportunity. People hate buying mobile phones. They hate going to the mobile phone store. Tells me there's probably an opportunity there, but nobody has quite figured it out. John Lewis. So John Lewis, who is probably one of the most respected retailers in this country, they've added click and collect to their proposition, and they're seeing, what's fascinating is that, I think saw the numbers the other day, and House of Fraser is seeing very similar things. 50 to 70% of their click and collect click and collect is representing 50 to 70% of their online. 50 to 70% of their online is collected in stores. That's incredible. That's an amazing number, but that speaks to the fact that this is about, it's not people choosing to either go online or choosing to go offline. It's about fitting in with their own lifestyle and their own needs, which I think is great. This one I love as well. Aurora recently partnered with the folks across the street at PayPal, and they are creating a mobile in-store payment proposition so that people can try on the clothing in the fitting room, and rather than getting in the queue, boom, pay for it in the fitting room. Very cool. It's fun. Is it going to drive 100% growth? Probably not, but it's about making the customer really, really happy and thrilling her, so when she leaves, she's going to come back to Oasis the next time. So this is traditional retail reinventing themselves. These guys are going to survive. These guys are going to thrive. Last quote, I promise. So Sir Terry Leahy, ex-CEO of Tesco, if you listen to your customers long enough, they will deliver you your strategy, right? They will. They will. 5 years ago, our customers told us, and actually more importantly, they showed us that they wanted other ways to access our experience. They wanted it on the go. They wanted it to better reflect their lives. They did not want to be tied to a PC anymore. And you saw the growth that we've seen behind that. $10 billion this year will go through mobile. We'll continue to adapt. We will continue to evolve to this marketplace. We've got some great, it's really interesting, the last big acquisitions that we've made of late. So Milo, which is one which enables retailers to upload all of their bricks and mortar retailers to upload all of their inventory, and it's essentially a local shopping solution. Red Laser, so for you guys who are not familiar with it, it's barcode scanning, so it's all tapped into catalog data. And then Pickup. So this is something that has been tested in the US and coming soon. You search for it, you pay for it, you pick it up in store. Partnering with retailers like Toys R Us to do this. This is how the customer wants to shop. Oh, no, by the way, they don't want to pick it up tomorrow. They want it now. And actually, I don't have time to go pick it up. I want it delivered to my office, and I want it this afternoon. So another one that we've been testing is you search for it. You find your local stores that have the item in stock, and actually they deliver it to you this afternoon, sometimes free of charge. So again, completely innovating the customer experience. And it's not up to us to tell them what to do. It's about us making sure that every single customer journey that they want to go on, we're there ready for them. And in fact, these acquisitions raised a lot of eyebrows internally. People are like, why on earth would we be sending traffic to a bricks and mortar store? This is crazy. It's because that's what they want to do, and we have to reflect that, not to try to force them into the shopping experience that we want. It's about being there for the shopping experience that they're already having, okay? So as a final thought, we can file this one under mimicry is the biggest form of flattery. So some of you guys might remember, right? Last year, Christmas, eBay opened up its own bricks and mortar pop-up shops. We had one in San Francisco, we had one in London near Oxford Street, and we had one in New York. We were actually overwhelmed by how positively they were embraced. We admittedly thought it was mostly a media play. It was staggering to see the sales that went through some of our retail partners that chose to feature inventory in these stores. It was incredible. So based on this experience, a lot more to come, so watch this space. There are some other really interesting things in the pipeline for this holiday season. But I think it kind of leaves with the final thought of, the playbook, the old playbook, doesn't really exist anymore, right? So watch this space, all right? Thank you.